This is another. I have 2 sons and 2 daughters, and then I'll just finish up with a naughty one. This one's called Jolademi. Jolademi is my younger son. He's 9. He was 9 a few days ago. There's just something about him. He's. I think it's the way that he gives love. I think is what is amazing, and how he gives it so generously to everyone even to people who don't want it. He's constantly trying to give people things, especially my things, which I don't like. So I have to stop him from doing that. But he will, he's so generous with kisses, and every time he'll see you and he'll say, "Are you okay, mommy?" And I'll say, "Yes, I'm fine." He says, "You look a tiny bit sad. Let me kiss you." So he says things like that. And you'll feel better. Like when you kiss me, I always feel better. That's what he says, and he means it as well, which is strange at 9 that he still kind of thinks that way, but it doesn't matter. Jolademi. He creeps into my bedroom when the night is most alive. Unafraid, he feels for the walls that will bring him to my door. It has been 4 years since I spat him from a lip in my womb, yet every night he crawls back in. The first light pries through the curtains. He kisses sleep from my eyes and pinches my lips to seize my first words. He wants them for himself. I breathe in the smell of milk that has never left his forehead. God, if I could birth this boy again, I would. I watch him at breakfast. His face is crushed like an eggshell. For him, food is slow, fist under chin torture. "Mother, let this plate pass over me," he pleads. Soon after, he attacks the sweet jar. He's a boy soldier. His face is ever smeared with chocolate paint. I watch him from my window, bent over like a rainbow. He scours the garden for things his fingers are drawn to. He seeks me, bearing gifts, hollow beetles, strange stones, flattened cans. I push them back into his metallic hands. At night, he pulls me down on my knees and moistens my lips with kisses. "Good night, mother," he says, and walks away from me. My insides flap like a wet loincloth. Come morning, come soon. So this is Queen, and I'm going to read it like Ehikhamenor. When a plan does not go right, you plan again, you plot again. One day you will succeed. One day you will be able to damage the person who hurts you so completely that they will never be able to recover. I have told Segi this on several occasions. I keep telling her that we need to find a permanent solution. But she does not have wisdom. She says we should continue to humiliate Bolanle until she runs away. Let us cut her feathers, she says. Well, the bird has shown that she can fly without feathers. I knew we should have gone for her throat. We should have bled her into a hole in the earth. I have suffered too much in my life to let that rat spoil it all for me. So what if she's a graduate? When we stand before God on the last day, will he ask if we went to university? No, but he will want to know if we were as wise as serpents, because that's what the Bible says we should be. If we let Bolanle ruin us, then we would all have failed before God. I reject failure in Jesus' name. That only happens when I'm reading to Nigerian.
When it rains in Lagos, it doesn't fall. Broken sewers rise, and things long forgotten resurrect in the infected regatta. Dogs and dung float lazily in tar water. Men and women take turns in increasing the water level by pissing into the stagnant gutters. An acrid stench drifts its way through windows into your senses. Eyes suffer, but they are used to the eyesore whenever the Lagos skies winds. There is a standstill on the morning that refuses to welcome the sun. The only thing moving in the traffic is incessant wiper blades, clearing the tears of crying windscreens. Dizziness storms the eyes of doubtful motor drivers whose choice of breakfast beverage is baraga, not tea. Conductors' lips are condensed, gripping tight on lip-studding cigarettes. The rain has shackled their crows for destination calling. Okada riders have no holiday as they submerge in broken drainage and immense seasoned swimmers. Trash bag, raincoats, trash in the wind, a large fish caught. Fighting for life, twist and twine between the stalled cars. ShopRite plastic bags take the place of helmets for passengers holding dearly to nothingness. Move, stop, move, stop. Between 2 to 20, the Okada riders form a colony of vultures, seeking dead carcasses in wetlands, happy that the hyenas, Nigerian police, don't darken their face. It is the umbrella hawker's heaven, as the rain cools his unsheltered hot head. The drink seller's body and his bag of beverages drip in torrential unity. Coke, Fanta, Mirinda, yogurt, Lucozade, Red Bull, Heineken, Star Beer. A collocation of fluidity. On a morning that could do with hot tea or steaming coffee, cold drinks weigh down busting biceps in an idle mobility. Wet minds, angry tears. Weary gala sellers hog their damp cartons under gleaming bridges, staring hungrily at uninterested customers, huddled inside leaking buses, too drenched to think of sausage rolls. You watch as the country's youth is plastered against the walls of roofless bus stops, and the rain washed their prospects away to an unknown future. Roads set traps with patient fork poles. An unsuspecting car moans and heaves a sigh of death as the smoke of stillness, like that of Cain's burnt offering, cycles around the head of the distressed owner. How deep are these traps? Nobody remembers. Dear me, the pothole seems to say to your car. One tire goes in first, and then the other. While deafening horns push you to press the accelerator with little or no deliberation. It is already too late. As you plunge engine first and the tail lights point accusing fingers at the whipping sky, every driver must surveillance to the cabbage of Nigerian roads. You have become the sacrifice, a lesson for others behind as they avoid your erroneous path. The roadside preacher's megaphone preaches to silence, head bowed and Bible tucked under arm. He takes shelter beneath a busted yellow umbrella. His message is painfully swallowed. No preaching means no offering. And earthly hunger stares him dead in the eye. Heaven is too remote to shout about now. His usual congregation scampers here and there like fumigated ants, seeking not salvation but redemption from the rain. Elijah was a rainmaker even when there was no cloud. But a quack Lagos preacher can neither start nor stop a drizzle. He watches as made in China umbrella form a blurry rainbow coalition until a wave of wind manipulates them upwards. Soon, everything will become one big pool of hopelessness to him, a subject for tomorrow's message, if heaven permits. The politician is behind tinted windows in his new jeep. He's the king of the road. His sirens scream loud and bereaved, shooing mere corporal or to unwanted beaches. Nigerians don't build roads anymore. All they buy is Prados and G-Wagons. As you find a tiny spot to rest your tire, the man you voted into power rushes to share the cake you baked for him in the last general election. You try to figure out if you fed your ballot paper into a ballot box or into a paper shredder. Your hope becomes tail lights, disappearing into a horizon before your sopping eyes. Cars take their owners prisoner and digital clocks chew away like time, like a horse eating sugar. You thump from one FM station to the other, losing your cool to smoke and seeking inspiration in rhythm. But nothing is classic this month because you are in Nigeria. Newscasters repeat the president's reaction to our new nightmare. Boko Haram's attack on the police headquarters is an attack on Nigeria. The speechwriter could have done better than rehearsing George Bush's speech after September 11. However, we also build drainage systems like America, where cities don't just shut down because of trickles. Another way of disarming buries the newscasters we have ritual. The only thing moving faster than federal government license plates is the little boy beggar wiping your window in the rain.
A major problem with Nigeria is that many Nigerians don't seem to know and appreciate the country's history. One way of fixing this problem is by encouraging ourselves to read as much as we can about Nigeria, especially in school. I've been getting requests to suggest interesting books about Nigeria, so I'm going to introduce some of these books to you. Don't forget that books often divide opinions. A book I love might be one you don't like at all, and no book or author is perfect. But one thing is true, we can learn even from books and authors we don't like or agree with. So here goes. A Swamp Full of Dollars, Pipelines and Paramilitaries at Nigeria's Oil Frontier, written by Michael Peel. Michael Peel is the legal correspondent for the Financial Times, having previously been its West Africa correspondent. Just Before Dawn, written by Kole Omotosho. Kole Omotosho is a well-known novelist and journalist and is the author of several works of fiction and writes regularly for a number of international news magazines. The State of Africa, A History of 50 Years of Independence, written by Martin Meredith. I'd like you to particularly check out chapter 11 of this book, titled A House Divided. It's a very interesting book. Nigeria Dancing on the Brink, written by John Campbell. John Campbell used to be an ambassador to Nigeria. Wole Soyinka's You Must Set Forth at Dawn is Wole Soyinka's memoir. Even though it's a memoir, it contains lots of interesting things about Nigeria's history. Reforming the Unreformable, Lessons from Nigeria, written by Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. It's an account of her years of service during President Obasanjo's regime. The Biafra Story, written by Frederick Forsyth, is a very controversial book, but very interesting to read. Another controversial book, as you know, is There Was a Country, written by Chinua Achebe. No matter the arguments about this book, it's a great book to read about the history of Nigeria. Nasser El-Rufai's The Accidental Public Servant, which is also another controversial book, is also another interesting book to read. It's about the account of Nasser El-Rufai during his Obasanjo years. Another book is Nigeria, Africa's Failed Assets, written by Sir Olanewun Ajayi. It's a book that tells the story of Nigeria pre-independence and post-independence. Very lovely book to read. Three other interesting books. The autobiographies of the Founding Fathers. Number one is My Life, an autobiography of Sir Ahmadu Bello, published by Cambridge University Press, written in 1962. Then My Odyssey, an autobiography of Nnamdi Azikiwe, published by Prager in 1970. And Awo, the autobiography of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, published by Cambridge University Press, January 3rd, 1960.
Perhaps if I had known, I would not have allowed Becky out of my sight. But how could I have known that when religious lies are sown in men's hearts, they ripen into seeds of hatred? Tell me, how could I have known that these fanatics have mastered the drama of violence? When it suits them, they use hyperboles or exclamation marks to stir up trouble. There is neither a comma nor a full stop in their dictionary of mischief. I was sitting in the front of my house when I saw my younger brother Atimas running down the street towards me as if 1,000 demons were hot on his heels. What is the matter? I asked him as soon as he got to where I was seated. The riot has started, he panted. his eyes wide with fear. They are killing people in town, he blurted out. And where is Becky, I asked. I don't know. I lost her when fanatics attacked the bus we were riding in. Cold breath, closed iron fingers around my throat. I quickly rushed into the house, picked up my dagger, and stepped out. Artemas held on to the tail of my shirt. Please don't go, Ballard, he pleaded. They will kill you. No, I must look for Becky. We cannot abandon her. Where did you say your boss was attacked again? Around Kawu bus stop. It was not too far from my house. The city was already a mesh of rubble, ashes, blood, and scattered limbs. Life has become so cheap, like a sachet of pure water on the streets of Lagos. The fighting was still raging. People were running helter-skelter. There was confusion everywhere. Our city had become a strange and loud metaphor. It captured graphically the darkness in the heart of the ordinary man who is motivated to do evil. I sought frantically for Becky. She was nowhere to be found around Kawu bus stop. My next port of call was the General Hospital, popularly called Asipiti. There were at least 30 corpses deposited in front of the mortuary. Some of the bodies were charred, others swollen with various cuts, all indications of the traumatic encounter. I inspected the bodies, but none of them bore resemblance to Becky's. I moved down the wards where I carried out another inspection, but still could not find my beloved Becky. Where could they have taken her? What could have happened to her, I asked. I was really getting frantic and retorted to myself that I was searching for Becky in the wrong place. I decided to return home before I came to harm myself. I took the back streets to avoid the orgy of bloodletting, destruction, and anarchy going on the major streets. As I got to a street corner, a familiar voice called my name. My heart did a double somersault as I turned to see who it was. It was Diko, one of my childhood friends. I quickly ran to where he stood. Have you seen Becky? No, Ballard, don't go home yet. The fanatics are on their way to your street. I must leave now. I left Artemas at home. I must rush back home. Just then, Diko and I saw the fanatics coming towards our direction. They were brandishing dangerous weapons. We took to our heels and hid in a deserted building. Luckily, they didn't come after us. From the building where we watched with horror, our neighbors were dragged out of their houses and hacked to death. We were too shocked by the gory sight before us, but we didn't notice that Musa, the popular madman in town, had also taken refuge in the building with us. It was his cough that brought our attention to him. Diko and I clung to each other in fright, but our fear quickly dissolved like a cube of sugar in hot water when we saw the mischievous smile planted on his face. One could tell from his smile that Musa seemed pleased that the riot was a vindication that we, the so-called sane ones, were actually the insane ones. Musa the madman was more popular than the governor of the state. The story of his madness has been hawked about like all over town, from house to house, street to street. Uncontrollable Harmattan fire, burning bridges of affection and destroying relationships. Look, Bala, this is abominable, Diko cried out in horror, pointing his finger in the direction he wanted me to turn to. As I turned, the sight before me was not gory but also blood calling. Baba Bulus was pouring petrol all over Malam Adamu's compound. He immediately struck a match and soon he finished and set the building ablaze. Diko and I were lost for words. Baba Bulus and Malam Adamu, until the riot, had been best of friends and next-door neighbors for 30 years. We heard cries from inside. Apparently, Malam Adamu and his family were trapped inside the building. Unfortunately for Malam Adamu, his best friend Baba Bulus had joined the people who see themselves primarily as Muslims and Christians, and who live in a society where religion has become the defining index of relationship. Oh Lord, please protect Becky. Protect Artemas, I prayed silently. Since the death of our parents 6 years ago, and with no known relatives around us, Artemas and I had learned to depend and protect each other. Our parents' demise had left us buried in sadness until Becky came into my life. She brought so much joy to Artemas and I. We were both strongly attached to her. Who wouldn't be? Becky was all a fellow could ask for. She was beautiful. Hers was the dreamlike beauty of a beautiful rose flower, flawless and perfect in all parts. I felt so rich and warm whenever she was near. The way in which she could flow into you, as if she melted into your very bones, was something beautiful. Becky made the earth move for me. She put a gleam in my eyes and a lump in my throat and a bounce in my gait. I swear I could do anything for her. Every time I search for words to describe how I feel about her, as always, I discover that no one could really explain with words the beautiful, exciting, and indescribable feeling that love evokes.
I'm a writer myself, not published, but I'm a prolific writer. I'm a reader, prolific reader, have been since childhood. I write poetry, and I also just recently have started to manage some of our creative artists, especially writers, so that the whole way of working and interacting with their craft is handled a little bit more professionally, as management is my background. Something like this is always good to open the eyes of people to new and upcoming writers, and it's also great for the writers to have the audience to bounce their ideas off, and also to have people ask questions and have them also think about what they've written and how it's perceived, how it's received. Yeah.
I'm glad we are having more public book readings in Nigeria. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. Our book of the week is the best-selling book titled Managing My Life, the autobiography of Sir Alex Ferguson, the recently retired legendary manager of Manchester United Football Club. Now, don't tell me you are a true Man U or football fan if you've not read this book. But it's not just for football fans. It's one you will enjoy even if you can't stand the game at all. So try and get yourself a copy, read it, and let's know what you think. Don't forget you can always join us on the channel's book club during our regular broadcasting days, anywhere you are in the world, through m.channelstv.com. You can also watch our past episodes on YouTube. Our social media details are displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.